St. Moritz in Switzerland, high in the Engadine Valley, 1,850 meters above sea level. The oldest, the fastest, the longest, the most historic track in ice sliding. Hello everybody, welcome to race 5 in the Wiesmann FIBT Women's Bobsled World Cup. We're just about to head into the first of our 2 runs, where we will whittle our field down to the fastest women who will go for the gold medal here at this most prestigious racetrack. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action with you trackside. And John, this is just a glorious competition venue.
What Monte Carlo is to Formula One, what Wimbledon is to tennis, what Yankee Stadium is to baseball, this is the sliding sports historic track. Over 120 years ago, they started sliding from St. Moritz down to Celerina, through the forest. On this first curve, you get into the first of these curves that have names on them from over 100 years ago. First one coming up is the wall. It's a big, long, sweeping curve to the left, and you really have to be careful. And after you exit the wall, here comes the snake. 2-corner combination, left, quick right. Now into sunny curve, big sweeping right. A lot of pressure. You have to exit perfectly. Nash and Dixon, named after the 2 Olympic gold medalists from the '64 games. Great British guys. And now into horseshoe, the most famous curve in the world. Enter with slingshot effect into telephone. These names on these curves: Devil's Dyke, Nameless coming up after this. All these names were given over 100 years ago. The bridge curve, a lot of speed and pressure, 85 plus miles an hour down here through Gunner Sachs. Now the long straightaway into Martineau. Martineau was named after the founder of the St. Moritz Bobsled Club in 1923. Portago. Martin, it's like we're out of breath every time we come here, and it's not because of the altitude.
No, it's because of the excitement. Very fast, very exciting track. Edith Burkhardt winning the Swiss, or second in the Swiss Championships. She set the track record here. She'll be racing in the field as well. Edith will be the last of our 17 sleds. Alana Myers-Taylor of the USA is our World Cup points leader with 3 straight wins and then 6th position after a crash in Koenigsee last weekend. Rattled her a little, but she is back in the saddle. She trained moderately hard this week and is fit to race today. So good to see her back on the campaign trail with Herb Breckman, Lauren Williams. And they will go off down towards the bottom of the top 10 in the random start draw. Stephanie Schurek and Lisa Maria Buchwitz. Buchwitz won last weekend with Kathleen Martini. Stephanie Schurek draws start draw number 1 for the 2nd week in a row. Koenigsee, that was a deficit here. That's even more of a deficit. Koenigsee, rather, it was an advantage here. Going off later, we'll be likely to see faster ice and better track conditions. And John, that's unique to this track. As the day warms up, the track actually gets less frosty and a little slicker.
A little sun on the track creates that moisture.
So those are the starters that will go in this 5th race of the World Cup Series. '28-year-old German Stephanie Schurek is the first of our 17 sleds in race 5 of the Women's World Cup. Behind her, she has Lisa Marie Buchwitz, the 20-year-old rookie from Berlin. The sprinter won on her first race with Kathleen Martini last weekend in Koenigsee, Bavaria. Well, Stephanie Schurek gets this competition underway here in gorgeous St. Moritz. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action as we head into the 2nd part of our European World Cup campaign of this most historic of all tracks.
German coaches, Christoph Langen, decided to switch things up amongst the brakeman and the driver combinations. Stephanie used to be a great brakeman herself. Track record at the start, 5.56 start speed, 47.6. Keep your eyes on that. That start speed is everything.
Well, looks like the switch up worked immediately for Stephanie Schurek.
Now these tracks are nothing. Oh, there's a skid there. Exit into another skid. These tracks are nothing like Koenigsee and Altenburg, where they just came from, with a lot of violent steering. Here it's quiet. Boy, she is all over the track, though.
Talked about Hefty just after the 2-man race. I said, how's the track changed? He said, really, really skiddy in the 2nd heat, and that's only going to be compounded now for these women's sleds. 103.6 is good speed, though. 64.5 miles an hour.
Just a little ride through the forest here at St. Moritz. Into the bridge curve, a lot of pressure down here. 4 sweeping right curves. And now the long straightaway. This is where they get close to 87.9 miles an hour into the finish.
Good speed from the German sled. Half the men's field would have been pleased with that. 108.17. Men's record was left down at 106 and change.
Speeds, wow. We're going to see a lot of track records.
But Edith Burkhardt set the track record and the start record in the Swiss Championships, but she didn't win.
Skids up top, exit a wall into the snake. Now watch the skid between the snake. It's not what you want to do when the sled needs to accelerate, but that could be like Beat Hefty said. It gets a little skiddy up here.
We saw exactly that from Beat Hefty in the second heat. Second of our starters is Jamie Grubel-Poser with her brakewoman Sherelle Garrett behind her. 31-year-old Jamie, former heptathlete, now an elementary school teacher, also crashed heavily in the last couple of races. The US team, John Morgan, have had lots of crashes this season.
They stopped counting. The last 2 weeks have been really, really testy. Look at that start time, 5:50. Really testy, but boy, the attitude of the whole U.S. team for what they've been through for the last couple of weeks is you wouldn't think that there was one crash. The team has really, really come together through all this adversity, and Jamie Grubel, one of them.
Well, they say, don't they, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's certainly the case with the US team. The brake women are even closer to their drivers now as a result of what they've gone through.
Tap, watch her up to the roof. Oh, she hits the roof. We saw a lot of roof hunting in the men's competition up there. 103.5.
Whisker down on speed, just 1/10 of a kilometre an hour. This is going to be very close with Stephanie Schurek.
Good lead, though. That's relative to the start. Mistake there. That's going to cost her dearly. See if she can keep it straight here.
Straight out of Sachs, touch on the wall. You heard it rather than saw it. She's a kilometre an hour down in terms of speed.
Pretty close.
Down to a 10th. Oh, my goodness.
Start time. That's how she did that there. She's 600s better at the start.
You could hear her calling brakes there as she came past the camera.
Considered Jamie's last time down at Königssee, she crashed severely. To come out, set the track record on her first competitive trip back. Well done. Look at the hunting for the roof. Does the back end hit also? No. That I don't think is that bad. Little skid here, though, down the fast part of the track. These 4 right-hand curves can't hit down there.
Next up is Misha McNeil from Newcastle in England with Alicia Kittle behind her. Alicia nearly had to step into the 4-man crew in Königssee last week. Misha 21, Alicia 22 from Chelmsford in Essex.
One of the upcoming young pilots in the sport, about 20 years old.
Silver medalist at the Youth Olympic Games in Eagles 2 years ago in women's bobsleigh.
Start, though, she's 2100ths behind Jamie Grubel to start. But one thing I like about her, though, look at the way she sits. Her eyes are barely above the talent.
Well, she is kind of petite. In fact, both girls are fairly slight. Speeds we've seen so far, 103.5.
There she was late in telephone, that she got, on the end of it, she flopped off the curve, so that exit of Horseshoe was not optimal.
Speeds at the bottom, 140, 141, 140.2. Just a whisker behind the US sled Jamie Grubel in terms of speed, but Jamie Grubel-Poser leads the race. She's 8/10ths back.
Came back at the bottom a little bit. Coach Peter Gunn just came like it.
Well, third place at the moment for Misha McNeil and Alicia Kittle. Second start draw a couple of weeks ago in Altenburg. Third start draw here, not so beneficial.
Watch the tap on the take-on here. That pushes her in the middle of the curve. She has to drive off the end of the curve, and she flops off. So the exit of Horseshoe, it's everything on this track. You have to have that slingshot effect there. She did.
There's Mish. with Alicia Kiddle. Next up, her teammate Victoria Ole from London, with Anya Kay from Bournemouth getting her second World Cup start, the fine arts student.
Okay, come on,
31-year-old Vicky, 23-year-old Anya.
Come on, Anya, from the start.
Oh, slight twist a little bit there.
Not a great hit between the two girls.
Oh, the brake went in quick, which not a problem on this track. Oh, but the push bar's out. We got action here.
Well, we saw that from both British men's sleds.
There it is,
Now she
46.7.
finds the button. 46.7 kilometers an hour, 29 miles an hour from a standing start. See how these things accelerate.
Pretty good line out of wall. Watch her through the crossover of Snake. Ooh, a little early on the crossover. Now, the best shot of good driving is this shot coming up the back end here. Watch this. That's good.
Nice lines from Vicky O. 7/10 back there in fourth place. Just flirts with the woodwork. Can she get it off telephone?
Ooh, late.
She's a little late too.
Late, 3 places.
Well, they're racing a lot later than they trained. The track is very different. That's the case for everybody, really. Spoke to Nico Volta after the men's race. I said, what happened in your race? He said, we went with fat runners. Track got too slick late on. And that might be the case here as well. Fourth place of a 109.19. Fastest time is a 108 dead. Well, Vicky's best result, 2 8th places in North America. So we're doing well to get that off this first run.
Look at the eyes, hit the push bar. They got to hit together. That's the key. Good technique. The head's not a rolling back and forth on the shoulders. They're tied in, get down. And here's the part of the track through the Snake. What's the back end skidding a little bit? See that? She got in there too early. The right to left crossover. She got on the take on too early.
Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries, double Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries. Melissa Lottholt's back on the sled after Julia Carenti was rotated in last week.
Kaylee looked like she was jogging almost in that first step. Good start, 5:52. Great start. Speed 47.9. I think that's as good a speed as we've seen.
Jamie Grubel-Poser, just a whisker quicker at the start, but the same exit speed.
Well, if there's anybody who knows how to come down this track fast, it's Kaylee Humphries. She had 4 trips in women's bob, and she had 2 trips in 4-man bob this week. She will compete tomorrow. 600's down. Watch, these lines are perfect. Now watch her slingshot to the bottom there. Perfect speed. 103.2.
Nice exit, just a whisker behind Jamie Grubel-Poser, who is our current leader.
12. She could still catch her because Grubel was not perfect down here.
Needs 141s at the bottom to be in with a shot of the first heat lead. 139.1.
No
What?
speed at all.
Where's that going?
That happened there.
Well, you've got to look at runner choice there. Turns ahead to have a quick shout to Melissa to haul on the brakes. Because you are motoring down here, 86.5 miles an hour. You've got to slow this thing.
That's like the 4th best speed.
Yeah.
3rd or 4th best speed. I think both British sleds were in the 39s.
No, both British sleds were quicker. That is the slowest speed we've seen at the bottom from the Olympic champion.
Look at these lines. Long skid there.
Yeah.
Through the forest, you can see the trees. And then that skid, she comes off late. And watch the ice pop up here. She crosses over. She knows she's late. Look at that skid. Well, there's where your speed left her, right there. So that was driver error. That's not runner.
What did you start?
Kathleen Martini, our race winner last time out, the 32-year-old from Dresden, 4 times European champion. And she has got Franziska Bertels returning to World Cup action.
She gets a start. She gets within 500s of the U.S. Short chance. 5:55. That is
Jamie
500.
Yeah.
48 flat. 48 flat start speed. That's
Same
the best
as the
speed.
Americans.
Yeah, that's great. And this is the best driver in the competition, in my opinion.
Well, this is why they put the now fit Franziska Bertels back on the sled to give Kathleen the boost she needs at the start.
Here comes the driver right here.
500s behind at the start. She's 500s in front. And look at that. Nice run through Nash and Dixon.
Watch this speed here on the left. It's going to tell us all. 99.
104 fastest.
This has got track record written all over it. If we don't hear any nicks, there's the first nick, though. Oh, she's flying.
Extending her advantage. Great run from Kathleen Martini. That win last time out in Koenigsee after flaking out of the medals in Altenburg has really given her a boost. Fastest sled at the bottom. Fastest sled
Track
all
record.
the way down. 107.
First time.
3/10 clear of Jamie Grubel-Poser.
First time below the 108. Kathleen, it's another day at the office for the athlete who's got more experience driving a bobsled than anybody in the field. Watch these lines. Look at her head turn a little bit. And now the exit and perfect crossover. Watch the transition onto telephone. They call it telephone because there used to be a telephone there in the old days. They'd wire it back up so you could say if they made it through or crashed.
Kathleen Martini leads our first heat here in St. Jasmine Fenlater of the USA. She's got Lauren Gibbs behind her on the sled. Jasmine, 29 years old now from New Jersey. Got to wriggle in.
5:57.
Just 200s behind our new race leader, Kathleen Martini.
But she's 3/10 kilometer speed back.
She struggled to get into the sled to get her feet around the D-rings and into the driver's footrests.
She keeps it quiet up here. That's not quiet. That's skidding. Watch the crossover. 20+ hundreds, yeah, behind. And that's late there. The exit is sunny to watch here through the crossover of Nash Dixon. Hopefully, oh, there's a tap. 2 taps, not good.
Well, put it back online at least for Horseshoe. Exit off telephone's not bad. 103.1.
Full kilometer down to the Martini. 4/10. Look at that top 5.
Yeah, behind Kaylee Humphries of Canada. 141 is decent speed. So certainly much more than Humphries had. So in fact, she takes 4th place ahead of the Olympic champion by 0.09 of a second.
Considering all the bing bangs on the way down, that wasn't too bad.
5:57, 108.21.
2100s behind teammate Lauren, Jamie Grubel-Poser rather.
You heard Mike Kahn giving the start and the speed. Look at the tip, hits there, then hits over on the left. You know, this is not the way you want to do it. Look at the spray come up, and then she's got to steer because she gets into the curve late.
Kathleen Martini, our race leader, as the third of our sleds comes to the ice for the USA. Alana Myers-Taylor with Lauren Williams. Myers-Taylor, the World Cup points leader, 3 straight wins before crashing out of the lead and into 6th place last weekend.
First time that she's been paired up with her Olympic champion, silver medal champion, Lauren Williams.
Oh, look at that, 5:39.
Incredible.
Well, if you haven't read it, go and look up Alana's blog this week. Brutally honest about the impact of the crash last weekend.
She's wearing goggles here.
Yes, she is. First time I've ever seen her wear goggles.
The exit of sunny line curve she took there.
Well, she may have had to change last week's helmet after that big crash for a new one. May not have felt happy with the visor.
Only 1600s ahead is not a good sign. She's going to have to really be perfect here.
That's not. Hits the telephone hard.
Not very good, terrible speed. Came out of Horseshoe too quick. Now she's going to fight to stay in the top 3. No speed. She's going to have to maybe be perfect down here.
Great lines there. Let's see what the speed is. It's not on board. 1:39.9. She might drop behind Jamie Grubel-Poser. Third place at the line by 400s behind her teammates.
Got a good run. The start time's unbelievable. Made a little mistake. That exit horseshoe, pivotal part of the track. That's where she lost 30, 40 hundreds. She could have challenged Martini with a good exit there of horseshoe.
Very sore after the last couple of weeks of training crashes.
Ask her about the goggles, though. I wonder what that's about.
Well, I'm guessing it's a different helmet from last week.
Look at the tap here and the horseshoe. Then that sends her into the middle of telephone. More steering and, you know, erased speed.
Well, plenty to improve on for the second heat, which is a positive. Lana is feeling the miles this season. Alpha Willemsen of Belgium, though, is feeling nothing but good feelings this season. She's had some great results. Belgium's first ever World Cup medal in women's bobsleigh. 2 weeks ago in Altenburg, she backed it up with another silver last weekend in Koningszee. Her worst two results were 6th in the North American races.
Watch out
These
here.
girls are riding the crest of a wave.
Latvia went 1-2 this morning in the men's race with BCTC sleds. That's what this is. Watch out. She's a speed merchant.
Okay. Come on. Yeah.
She's not a speed merchant here in the first 50 meters.
But you know their secret? They are having so much fun. And when it's fun, it works. 5:77.
Speed's way off. Watch this, 47 kilometers. Considering all things, if she's straight, if this sled stays straight, she doesn't hit any walls, she might raise a lot of eyebrows here at the bottom.
Listen, outside the top 15 starters in Altenburg and Koningszee, she still found speed on tracks that are 500 meters shorter than this one.
Watch the back end here. Coming up. Watch her clean.
Half a second behind.
Speed.
Nice line.
Perfect. 5,200's down. 104.4. Good speed. She'll start
Fastest we have seen already.
She'll start to eat in there. I don't think she'll catch Martini at the bottom. Yeah, she's only on 40s. She might get this down to second or third place.
142s, 143s. What is she going to find? The lines are great. The speed is great. Blows everybody else out of the water in terms of speed. And at the line in fourth place.
Right there with the both American sleds. She was perfect.
Yeah.
There was not a mistake you saw, which is, you know, they say she's the best driver. I mean, I say Martini's the best driver, but Martini, Elfie might be catching her.
Yeah.
Of course,
she's got great hands.
Martini beat her by 2,200s at the start. Look at these lines. This is textbook. The crossover. Look at the back end of the sled. Look at this. These are just like she's in a computer game.
Yeah, want to know how to do it? Watch the Belgians. 2,200s behind the start. Should be 6,600s back. She's 39 back. Well, next up is Anja Schneider-Heinz, a 36-year-old former Olympic champion brakewoman. Annika Dradzek, yeah, she had her first start last week.
That's the Americans. Wow. That's what the Germans have been trying to do. That's the American start times.
Christoph Langen has hit pay dirt with the starting lineups this week, hasn't he?
19-year-old brakeman right there, sprinter. They're talking, Germans have a lot of high hopes for her to get her into driver's school. Wow. Anja, though, a little inconsistent driving.
Yeah.
And then it's only 1,400. She's already made all that start go away to Martini.
Silver in Calgary, bronze last week in Koningszee.
She did not hit the wall. Yes. Down 11. Oh, she's late there. 103.8, not the best speed.
Just a whisker behind Kathleen Martini. Is this good enough for second place?
This looks like it's going to be
moment she's
second.
still in the green.
Speed, though.
She is still in the green. Martini speed 141.7, 140.8. She'll drop behind for second place.
Well, with that start time, boy, Christoph Lange with sunglasses. Christoph.
Germany 1-2, 800 separating the pair of them, and they are nearly 3/10 clear of anyone else.
It's like it's a race for the goal between the two German sleds. This little skid here top wall. Watch her come through on a snake, left to right, too early on a snake. That caused the skid into the back end. Second part of snake, that cost her.
Annika Dradzig walks away, Schneidi at the front of the sled. It is a German 1-2 after the first 10 sleds here in St. Moritz in race 5 in the Women's Bobsleigh World Cup, with the USA snapping at their heels. Well, there are the trees that look over this valley in the Engadine Mountains between St. Moritz and Celerina, through which this historic track threads its way. And up in the start building there, just moving out a shot at the left, big museum with lots of memorabilia from many racers and races gone by. A track that really captures everybody's imagination. Athletes waiting in the 2-minute pause. See the Russian, that was Nadia Segova, who'll be up in 2 sleds time after Christina Hengster of Austria. And there is Anja Schneider-Heinze helping get the sled back on the truck and to take it back to the top to prepare for run number 2. Well, it's going to be a beautiful day for skiing, beautiful afternoon for skiing, but a stunning weather for bobsledding. Couldn't be more perfect. Crystal blue skies, bright sunshine, takes all the sting out of the temperature. And this track, fast, flowing, and so exciting.
The crowd up here at the start, it's a restaurant bar. It's just, you know, this is right downtown. It's just an unbelievable setting. And if we keep saying that over and over, we're sorry, but it is just a stunning place to be.
Yeah, our office this week doesn't look bad. Well, young sliders of the future, potentially. Good day in the men's race for Latvia, with a first and second for Oskars Melbardis and Ugis Zalims in his first World Cup race. Bert Hefti of Switzerland tied for the silver medal in the men's race. Fantastically exciting stuff, and we're shaping up for a big finale in this women's race as well. Still in the first of our 2 heats here in St. Moritz, though. More action just around the corner. Race 5, the Women's World Cup Bobsleigh. St. Moritz, Switzerland. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching Christina Hengster and Monique Sanadeka. The Austrian sled.
Austrians, good weekend so far. The women's skeleton, Janine Flock won the first ever gold medal for Austria in women's skeleton. And Christina Hengster gives up a little time at the start, but she has capable eyes and hands to post some great speed at the bottom.
A brave woman, former Dutch slider for the last 3 years.
So far, these are good lines. 3/10 down relative to the start, though. Perfect through Nash and Dixon. Now let's see the line. Oh, as soon as I said that, she's jinxed. Done.
Oh, and hits the woodwork hard, and telephone,
now
and flops.
She just lost 2 kilometers of speed.
Lowest speed we've seen. Actually, second lowest was Alana Myers-Taylor of the USA, our World Cup leader. Speed at the bottom, she'll do well to get even into 140s. 140.5. Again, these Austrian sleds are very aerodynamic. They look very traditional, no sharp edges on them, but something they know works well.
Coaches won't be happy with that. This is too experienced of a driver to have her make the mistakes on a Nash and Dixon entrance into Horseshoe than that. Plus the brakes didn't get on in time, and she's up in the rubber mat. Now it's going backwards. That's dangerous. Now here's the mistake, right? Skid, she's trying to steer away from it. Now she's going into a curve, skidding the biggest, most challenging curve on the planet, and she hits the roof. The back end still skidding. Then she hits on the exit coming out. As much as we say Alpha Williamson was how to do it, that's not how to do it.
Tough ride for Christina Hengster of Austria. Next up is Nadia Segova, another former brakewoman turned driver, with Nadia Paleva behind her. These two have been a consistent pair all season long. Yulia Shukasheva was in the back of the sled last weekend, though, for her trip down in Koenigsee. Sergeyeva, 27-year-old, started driving last season.
Another pair of track and field athletes. The Russians have recruited heavily from the track and field sector. Start, not bad. Start speed, not bad. That's drifting there, though.
Russians seem to be recruiting their brake women on track and field speed rather than power. And I wonder whether there's something missing from their equation. They're not the quickest starters.
It's a matter of time for technique, weight room. If you got the speed, you can develop the technique. If you don't have the speed, it doesn't matter how much technique you got.
That's true.
Speed is everything.
That's not good. Big hit.
That's not good either.
Big hit in telephone. Late
She's still late. She's still late. Gonna hit a couple more times. As they compounded for 3 or 4 corners. Looks like she's got it under control, and she's going 4 or 5 kilometers slower. Coach Pierre Luders, I'm sure, is beside himself.
Lowest speed we've seen, 139.1 from Kaylee Humphreys.
This is another developing driver.
139.5, that's a little better. Top 10, not quite. Just behind Misha McNeil of Great Britain.
Pretty violent hit up there at Horseshoe. But again, developing driver. Probably her first or second race here in St. Moritz.
Yeah, I think second time here in St.
Just
Moritz.
a matter of time. This is a good athlete that'll develop. How hard is that hit? Both the back end hit a little bit. Then she came out hit hard on the outlet. See the back end hit too. When the back end hit, when you see the violent of the brakeman going left to right, that's a lot of pressure side to side in that sled. Then she hits again. You know, and look at the snow come out. Now look at the angle going in there.
She's late on, which means she's late off.
She was late for 3 more curves.
Well, next up, behind the Russians, is Romania's Maria Constantin, nicknamed Flipper. Not quite sure why. She doesn't look like a dolphin. Erika Halle behind her. Braked in the Junior World Championships for Maria's younger sister, who also is driving bobsleigh for Romania.
571 speed, 47 flat, expected. She's been driving pretty good. She's been doing really well in the Europa Cup.
Yeah, ducking in and out of the World Cup because she wants to win the Europa Cup, so she won't be in La Plan next week. Hopes to come to the following race in Eagles, Austria as Europa Cup champion. So she raced here last week, so she's been here for pretty much a fortnight on this St. Moritz ice. Has seen it change every day. And again, her speed comes from nice lines. She's got some good ones there.
Little roof contact.
101.8 is pretty decent, given the hit.
Did really well in Altenburg. Top 10 finish in the Altenburg World Cup.
Yep. So her only World Cup so far this season, she was in 8th place, 139.1.
Top 12.
Just behind Nadia Sergeyeva and in front of Vicky Ole of the UK. And I think this will be her only race with Erika Halle behind her. As I understand it.
Little kiss off the roof, but boy, she turned out of there quickly too. You saw the front end of the sled, and that's extra steering. But she came over here on the crossover and got on the telephone correctly, but lost a lot of speed in that little kiss on the roof.
Saw her other brake woman, Andrea Greco, up the top. Now the Dutch women, Maya van Hagenbosch and Melissa Bickelman. And these girls, you think those smiles are only for the camera in the headshot? Not at all. They are beaming every time you see them. Youth Olympic gold medalist in women's bobsled, Maya van Hagenbosch, now 22 years old, as is her brake woman, who's also a junior world champion in shot.
She drifted the wrong side of that straightaway, and that causes this. This is what development drivers do.
That looks like Tom Delahunty yesterday in the historic race. Big skids, once they get going, are hard to kill when there's no pressure on the runners.
Staying up top. Really put her in the back position.
Little more speed, little more pressure, little more control now. 102.5, that's middling speed, better than the last 4 or 5 sleds.
She's ready. 65 miles an hour at the last speed trap, 85 miles an hour coming in next.
And she can get a little big skid there.
86 miles an hour. Not
Long
good.
skid and a hit with the wall. I was going to say if she can get up to 140, she could be in the top 10. But she's in 14th spot. Rocky ride for her.
She lost 25 or 30 hundredths, which would put her up in the 11th position with that mistake up top. They're the first. She's the first sled in the men or women's competition that we've seen have that many problems up top.
Yeah. And that is your nightmare trip down those 2 straights.
Yeah. She's trying to steer around, and that back end causes her. Now she's trying to steer away. Just let it go. You know, look at it. Look at the setup of the sled.
Little too much steering in the first corner.
See that sled bouncing around like that? That's pretty strange. That setup is very sensitive.
Pinball wizard down the straight, I'm afraid. Next up is Alexandra Rodionova, returning to World Cup action for Russia. Hasn't been on the World Cup campaign all season long. Ludmila Urubkina behind her, regular brake woman though. Like Maria Constantin in Romania, Rodionova's been racing in the 2nd tier in the Europa Cup, so she was here last week as well. 5:63 getaway.
Starts not bad. Her brakeman, though, got a lot of experience. She's been around for at least 4 or 5 years. It's not bad. This is top 10, but ooh, she ends a bad dive there.
Yeah.
Let's see if she gets up on the roof.
Back end broke away. Looks like she's got 2 fat runners on the back and it's steering with the tail. 102.9.
Big skids here. Watch how late she is on the next curve. Bang. She correct.
See how polished the track is getting where the drive lines are. Really reflective.
Now we get down to the 87.6 miles an hour.
149, that's not bad speed.
Yeah, that's top 10.
Can that put her in the top 10?
Not
10th
bad.
place it is, just ahead of Great Britain's Misha McNeil. And 100th behind Christina Hengster of Austria.
Bad. First World Cup of the season.
Yeah. Top 10 run in the first heat, and lots to improve on as well.
Another track and field athlete.
Kathleen Martini, Anja Schneider-Heinzer in control in the first heat here in St. Moritz.
Okay.
Final 2 sleds in the women's competition. Race 5 in the Wiesmann FIBT World Cup here in Switzerland are both Swiss. Martina Fontanive and Viviana Sig, the first of them. And lots of Swiss flags on evidence here. Bert Hefty, silver medalist an hour ago in the men's 2-man race. What can we expect from these 2 teams from Switzerland? This is their World Cup debut, these girls.
The brakeman's 18-year-old sprinter from Zurich. Late 16 sleds, 16th best start time.
It's the slowest speed we've seen in the first corner as well, off the slowest start, 5:81.
I asked Martina what it would take for the Swiss women's program to be as good as the men, and she says we have to provide all our own funding, all our own sled, everything. She says we get little support. Women's bobsleigh, Francois Boudet hasn't been that good in Switzerland.
Francois here this weekend with the rest of the fans enjoying life in Switzerland.
And Francois Boudet was the world champion for Switzerland in 2001 in Calgary. She beat Jean Racine by 200ths of a second. Ooh, big
138.9.
top 15.
Big skids all the way down the track. And that is the slowest high run so far. She is tied with Van Herkenbosch.
This is fast. Put the brakes on. Put the brakes on. Yeah, there you go.
Well, they raced, of course, in the Swiss Championships as well as in the Europa Cup last week. So got a little bit of experience on this track. Breathless stuff at 2,000 meters of altitude.
Low line, one of the lowest medium lines, means a lot of steering. A lot of steering means friction. Friction on the part of the track where you want to have a slingshot effect at the bottom. Maybe not the best line.
Also shows she was about 1.5 miles slower than anybody else. Well, now here is the woman who set the start and track record in the Swiss Championships, Edith Burkhardt. That was with a different brake woman, Tanja Meyer, on the back of the sled here. Swiss Championships were won by 30-year-old Sabine Hafner.
Wow.
With Katrin Sutter behind her. Now, they used to slides for Switzerland, but Sabine said no, they just did it for fun. They are not coming back.
Sabine Hafner was, they called her the firecracker, and she was the last Swiss. No, she wasn't. She was Sabine Meyer last year won the event in Koenigsegg.
Yes, she did.
Her only ever gold medal in women's bob, but she retired after the Olympics.
Well, Hafner was a double junior world champion. She took silver in the Europeans. Self-funded is a fast way to become very poor in bobsled.
The line she takes. Now back high. Oh, but she ain't going in. Lost her speed. 103.4 is not bad, though. This is top 6 at the moment.
Yes, she is, off a 9 fastest start, despite the slightly long ride.
Back, too.
Here we go. Speed at the bottom, 141 from the City of Sled. Yes, 141.3.
Top 5.
This could even be 4th place at the line. Where is she? 6th place behind Alpha Willemsen.
Wow.
And just ahead of Germany's Stephanie Schurek.
Well, maybe the Swiss have got somebody here. Of course, she's on the home track, and she's been here for a month.
But she didn't even win the Swiss Championship, so she's not actually the best female bobsled driver in Switzerland this winter.
High line out of Horseshoe was impressive. Look at this high line, high, then she dives out, but she tapped a little bit on the take on here. Watch her tap, and then that throws her over into the middle of the curve, and when you do that, you got to steer more and telephone and erase more speed.
Edith Burkhardt completes the run in 6th position. Our 17 sleds are down and gone. Kathleen Martini of Germany is our race leader by 0.08 of a second. The gap first to second almost as close as it was in the 2-man race. Behind her and Anja Schneider-Heinze, Jamie Grubel-Poser, Alana Myers-Taylor, then Alpha Willemsen and Edith Burkhardt for Belgium and Switzerland. We've got a race on our hands and lots of close action still to come at this legendary track. Well, stunning weather, stunning conditions, a stunning location. And what a close race between 2 German sleds in Switzerland. Martini and Schneider-Heinze. Best Swiss sled, Edith Burkhardt in 6th position. Late start draw certainly didn't hinder her speed. But it looks like the USA that will be battling with Germany for those podium positions. Further back, lots of close racing. So join John Morgan and me, Martin Haven, for the second heat here in St. Moritz and see who goes up the ladder and who slides down the snakes. It's that kind of a sport. It's that kind of a track.
Pretty exciting in the men's race in the second run. I'm sure we'll see the same in the women's competition. Make sure you join us.
Tomorrow's coming through. It's gonna be alright, alright. We'll make the sun shine all night. It's gonna be alright, alright. Till the monster's gone, we're sleeping with the lights on. Life has got